All of the variables that we're going to deal with in statistic can be grouped into one of four different levels of measurement. And here are the four different levels: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Now, generally, nominal and ordinal variables are categorical variables, and then interval and ratio are quantitative variables. So that's a general practice. So for the intents of this class, that's pretty much what you can count on. If it's quantitative, then it will either be interval or ratio. If it's categorical, it will either be nominal or ordinal. All right, so what are these four different levels of measurement? The lowest level of measurement is a nominal variable. And with nominal variables, there is no order to different categories. For example, names. Um, can I, if I have a list of names, can I order them? Yeah, I can list them alphabetically. But is there any one thing that puts one name above another one besides alphabetical? You can rearrange them and put them in different orders, and it will not change the meaning of anything. So names are nominal. Hair color and eye color are also nominal. You can take everybody's hair color or eye color, rearrange that information, and that data will not change. It doesn't affect anything. ID numbers, genders, types of cars. It's basically an information where, it doesn't put you any higher or below anyone else. Now that changes with the second level of measurement. That nominal is the base. If we take it one step up, then we can take our data and we can actually put it into some sort of an order. So ordinal variables have an order. For example, pain level. You go to the ER. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level? I know we're dealing with numbers here, but those numbers are really meant to put you into which pain group, right? It's a categorical variable. And there's an order to it. 1 is the smallest amount of pain, 10 is the highest amount of pain. So that is your that's an order to it. So it is an ordinal variable. Grades would be an ordinal variable. Did you get an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F on the assignment? Okay, that grade is an ordinal variable because it puts it into a specific order. Rating systems. Go on to Amazon or on eBay or on Walmart or whatever websites you like, online shopping you like to shop from. And there's always a 5-star rating. This is a 1-star item. This is a 4-star item. This is a 2-star item. All I have to do is say that, and you automatically know what I mean by that. 1 star is very poor quality. 5 stars is very high quality. 3 stars is average or somewhere in the middle. So rating systems are ordinal variables. Now let's shift over to quantitative variables. Now with these, we can start doing math. So we've started at nominal, that's our base level. We go up one level, we can put our variable into order. Now we go up another level. Not only are they in order, but we can do math with it. We can start to do calculations. We can calculate an average. But with an interval variable, there's no true zero. So basically, zero is just an abstract idea giving us a basis for measurement. Here's a great one. Date. What day is it today? It is August 10th. We'll just say August 10th. Which would be, I don't know exactly what day of the year that is, 230. You know what? Let's just pick day 230 of the year, whatever day that is. Then you go back one day before that, go back one day before that, until you go back to day 1, which is January 1st. The day before that would theoretically be day 0. But is there really a day 0? No, there isn't. 0 is just a basic construct we use to measure our date from. Here's probably an even easier example to use. the current time. It is currently 9:30 in the morning, which is 9 hours and 30 minutes after the beginning of the day. So that's the measurement based on a time of 0, which is midnight. Okay? And yes, on some clocks, we do say midnight is time 0. It's really there. But is it really? It's kind of an abstract time because even though it may be midnight for you, it's not midnight for somebody else. In different time zones, they'll have midnight at a different time. So their 0 is set differently than your 0 is. And even time periods and cultures can change the time, the 0 time. In ancient times, about 2,000 years ago, a time of 0 happened at sunset. That was the beginning of your clock. Was at 0 was at sunset. Years. This year, the year I'm recording this video is 2025. That means 2025 years after year 0. But what is year 0? Was that truly the beginning of years, the beginning of time? No. Time happened before that. It's just a marker that we have indicated as a basis for everything else. Temperature measured in Celsius and Fahrenheit is also an interval level of measurement. Okay, so there are 3 levels so far. Nominal is the base. You add order, it becomes ordinal. You could start doing math with it. That's interval. And then the ratio, you give it a very well-defined value of 0. And that value of 0 is a real thing. For example, height. My height is 5'7", measured from the floor. The floor is 0. That is an absolute 0 value. You can't really go below that. The size of a collection. How many books do you have? The number of books you have. That is a ratio variable because it is possible to have literally 0 books. Temperature in the Kelvin scale. This one, people aren't as familiar with this. But in the physics world, temperature is a measure of the amount of energy in the air. The more energy it has, the hotter it gets. The lower the energy is, the colder it gets. Theoretically, you can cool off and keep cooling off until there's no more energy to take out. That's 0. And that's the basis of the Kelvin scale. So that's another great example of a ratio variable. So there you go, our 4 levels of measurement. The very basic one is just information, that's the nominal variable. Give it an order, that's your ordinal variable. Give it a number so you can do math with it, that's an interval level of measurement. And then numbers that have an absolute definite 0 value is your ratio level of measurement. Now, an important note here is that the level of measurements can technically change from context to context. For example, time. We saw that in a previous video. The year 0, let me try that this way. The time of day comes from midnight, which is an abstract 0 value, so it's an interval level of measurement. But the time it takes to run a race, there is a very definite 0 time when you start the race. That would be a ratio level of measurement. So time could be either interval or ratio, depending on the context. All right, so keep your eye open for that. Let's end by doing a quick check. Look through these, pause the video, and determine what are these variables. Are they quantitative or categorical? And what level of measurement do they have? Go ahead and pause the video and answer those 2 questions for each of these. All right, so GPA. GPA is a number, and your GPA can go down to 0, but you can't go negative. Everything is based on a 0. That means you don't earn any credit, so that would be a ratio level of measurement. Number of books you read over the summer. It's a number. You can take an average, so it's quantitative. And 0 is a very definite number, so ratio as well. Favorite breakfast cereal. It's not numerical. It groups you. People who like Life cereal over here. People who like Raisin Bran over here. People who like Chex over here. I'm just naming a few. They're grouping. They're categorizing, so it's categorical. What level of measurement? Can you order the different types of cereal? No, there really isn't an order. So this would be a nominal level of measurement. List of patients waiting at the ER. It's a list of names. It's not numerical, so it's going to be categorical. Is it nominal or ordinal? Well, it's a list of patients waiting. There's an order in which they are waiting. The person at the top of the list is the next person to be admitted, and so on. So this would be an ordinal variable. Your phone number. Well, careful. Okay, a phone number is a number, but that number, you can't take an average phone number. It doesn't make any sense. Really, the phone number is just an identification to tell the phone which phone you want to call. Okay, if I call your phone number, I'm just putting into my phone, I want you to go to that phone. It's an identifier. And an identifier would be a categorical variable. So it's categorical. Do we want nominal or ordinal? Well, is there anything that puts one phone number above another one besides numerical? No, we can change the order of the phone numbers and we'll be perfectly fine. So it's a nominal variable. Today's average temperature. So the average temperature, it's an average, so it's going to be quantitative. Is it going to be ratio or interval? Well, that's going to depend on which scale you use. If it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, it'll be an interval. If it's Kelvin, it's ratio. I put ratio here, but I probably should have put both because it depends on the scale. All right, and that's our video on levels of measurement. Any questions, just let me know. And we're done with this lesson on variables. In our next lesson, we're going to start talking about taking samples and the best ways in which to take those samples.